Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever people are at. I just want to let everyone know we have a very special uh, talk today, but it's not just uh, me giving sort of perspective, but it's going to be a citizen journalism uh, discussion with two of our Truth, Freedom, Health warriors out of Finland, Anne and Timur. One of our Truth, Freedom, Health warriors who's Lithuanian. And then we have Boban, who's out of Germany. Boban, I have you also here, so when you speak, the sound will come through. We're having some sound issues. But anyway, what I want to do is, first of all, before I start, let me just give a quick background. Some of you may know for the last um, year almost, our movement has been very closely giving a systems analysis on what's going on in the Ukraine-Russia war. We've given a historical analysis talking about the fact that for years, US and NATO, going back after World War II into 1991, have had a deep interest in essentially uh, creating a hegemony in the Baltic areas and in Europe, and particularly, as articulated by Condoleezza Rice in 2013, have wanted to make sure that Europe does not depend on Russia oil and gas, but depends on US oil and gas. This has been very well articulated. So if you follow the money, US equals NATO has had a deep interest, particularly the oil and gas mega corporations have had a deep interest in making sure that Europe is dependent on U.S. oil and gas, and this is counter, and Russia stands in the way of that. So we've also shared over the last 8 years the eastern province of Russia, the people there who eastern province of Ukraine. I'm sorry, the people who have always felt a close alliance with Russia were very, very perturbed when the United States and NATO executed a coup in Ukraine to put in a pro-Ukrainian, and many people, there's a lot of information out there. These people are essentially neo-Nazis. And that really perturbed the people on the eastern part of Ukraine to want to break away from Ukraine. And that's really been the center of this conflict. More recently, we'll talk about what's taking place. The Crimea Bridge was just blown up a couple of days ago. Before that, several weeks ago, the Gazprom pipeline feeding Europe was blown up, Russia's Gazprom. So what we want to do today is we have some wonderful people who are part of our Truth, Freedom, and Health movement. Many of you know that the Truth, Freedom, and Health movement is a global movement of people all over the world. And our movement, you can go to vashiva.com to find out more. You can also go to truthfreedomhealth.com and you'll find out that what we're actually creating is a movement that is founded on going beyond left or right, beyond this traditional narrative of looking at things pro or anti, left or right. And we encourage everyone to go to truthfreedomhealth.com and become a part of this movement, because we're in a very interesting point in human history that those in power, wherever they are, don't really give a damn about everyday working people. So our movement is the only force, as we know, and there's nothing else that comes close to it, is essentially giving people a scientific way, a systems approach where we teach people system science. We give people the opportunity to connect with other global warriors all over the world. And more importantly, we have a community of people who are very resilient community of people who really want to go beyond this left and right narrative. So today, you can see sort of our community have also become citizen journalists. So we have Anne and Timur from Finland. We'll introduce them. We have Boban out of Germany. People know what's going on in Germany. If you've been the level of essentially the Germans are the ones who are at the brunt of the abuse as a fallout of what's going on with this Ukraine-Russian war. Boban will share with us what he's talking about. And Vilma, from one of the Baltic former Soviet Union states of Lithuania, will give her perspective, essentially talking about how the Ukrainian people and the Russian people are very, very close. And this whole thing is unfortunate because it's essentially created something that never really existed. So let me first introduce our guests, our citizen journalists. Boban, can you just introduce yourself, Boban?
Yes. My name is Boban Jovanovic. I live here in Germany since maybe more than 50 years. I be in this movement.
Thank you, Boban. Thanks for being here. And Boban's gonna share with us on the ground what's going on in Germany. The reason we wanted to do this is our view is that the mainstream media is not letting really people know what's going on. So we're gonna have to do that job. Vilma, can you just give a quick thing of where you are and where you're from? You're Lithuanian, and then how long you've been a Truth, Freedom, Health warrior. Go ahead, Wilma. Hold on, we have to unmute Wilma. Let me unmute her. Hold on one second. Go ahead, Wilma.
Good afternoon. My name is Vilma. I live in Ireland, but I am originally from Lithuania. I came in Ireland 2004 when Lithuania entered European Union, and we were allowed. Iron Curtain was lifted, and we were allowed to travel and emigrate. So I emigrated to Ireland. So, yes, I am concerned about situation evolving Russia and Ukraine, and because they used to be very friendly countries.
Yeah, so we'll come back to that, Vilma. We'll come back to that. Thank you. But Boban, people are saying they can't hear you. Boban, can you just do a sound check? Boban, just say 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Can people hear Boban better?
1,
Is that
2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I think it's because of the sound situation, Boban. So say it again, Boban. Boban, once again.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. If you can, all right. That's what we'll do. We'll do the best we can. And let's go to Timur and Anne. Anne, can you give us a little bit about your background? Anne, you have to unmute yourself.
Hello, my name is Anne. I live in Finland, and I am working with the geological information system, doing maps and surveying. I joined the Truth, Freedom, Health back in 2021, and I'm very happy. I've been very active lately. It's good.
Great. Thanks, Anne. Very good to have you. And let's go to Timur. Timur had some video issues, but Timur is also from Finland. Timur, go ahead.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Timur and I'm from Finland. And I've been actually working with electricity for the last 20 years. I was working as an electrician for 5 years, and then I started to become an electrical engineering. And I actually joined the movement, I think early 2020, and become a warrior in early 21. And like Anne said, we just kind of activated lately. That we really activated. Yeah, that's about it.
Great to have you. Thanks, Timur. I just want to do a sound check. Everyone can hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So anyway, let's start by just giving an update. As many of you know, I think yesterday or day before on Putin's 70th birthday, a bomb went off, which actually blew up the bridge which goes to Crimea, right? And that initially obviously Russia said they didn't do it, and then the reality is that Ukraine has taken credit for it, but it's unclear if they actually did it, right? It could have been US, NATO, it could have been MI6, it could have been CIA. No one really knows. But it was executed very much like the Gazprom pipeline. No one really knows who did that, but even the US former defense, an advisor of the defense ministry says it was clearly UK or the United States. But again, we don't know, right? But what we do know is that we have people here on our citizen journalists who actually have friends and family in Europe, okay, in Scandinavia, in the Baltic states. And I think it's about time that we start sharing directly from people, because you cannot trust the media anymore. As many of you know, the US media has had very close relationships with the CIA. New York Times used to have CIA agents working for them. You go to UK, MI6 and the media are one. So when a government wants to actually get a narrative across and manipulate people when there's trillions of dollars involved, you can't trust any of these governments. So our movement is basically saying that it's working people need to unite. We need to start doing our duty, which is to tell the truth, fight for freedom, and take care of our own health. It can't come from top down. So I want to start with Boban. Boban, if you can speak loud as you can, because I'm going to put your phone here. Are you unmuted, Boban? You are, right? Let me unmute you. Because your sound, oh, that's okay. Boban, can you try to unmute yourself? Because I know we had sound issues before.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Boban.
Okay.
Yeah, Boban, talk as loud as you can into your microphone over there. But go ahead. Yeah, get closer to your microphone. The video is secondary. I think, go ahead, Boban. Yeah, then you can come back. Go ahead. Yeah, as best we can, but just speak as loud as you can. Go ahead. Boban, you're very low. Can you speak louder?
Mhm.
Oh, really? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Boban. Go ahead, Boban. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, the situation here in Germany is now, in this case, people are going more and more demonstrate on the streets because people are upset with the German government because of their disappointing politics of the German government, and they are afraid because winter is coming and prices, gas prices are rising up. They 6, 7, 8 times more than last year. So there is a movement now beginning in Germany, especially in Germany. So in Germany, the people know this already because they destroyed and finished the old system of the GDR. And I think it will be in the next weeks and the next month, more and more people will go onto the streets and demonstrate because they don't like politics and they don't want Russia. So these are the main points. Economic crisis is rising up, gas prices are rising up, and people are losing hope.
Yeah, so a lot of people are having trouble hearing you, Boban. But what Boban said is that there's a lot of protests emerging in Germany. The gas prices are going up. And Boban, I've heard people in Germany say that that the cost of things, for example, electricity, has gone up by a very, very high number. Can you confirm that?
Yes, everything. Prices are rising. Everything rising up. Gas prices, gasoline, oil prices. So everything is. People don't know how to price, how to pay the bills at the end of the month.
Uh-huh.
And Germany has the best gas prices. Russia and Germany had the best conditions, and now everything is destroyed because of this Ukraine and Russia conflict, because of the intent of the German government.
Yeah, so what Boban said, just to repeat, is he said Russia and Germany had a very close relationship. They never had problems. Germany had very, very good gas prices. And now all of this is kaput. It's destroyed. And Boban, if you remember when I did that video a couple of weeks ago, I shared the quote from Condoleezza Rice, who was Bush's Secretary of State. and the director of Chevron. And she said very clearly in 2013, the goal was to ensure Europe no longer was dependent on Russia. And everyone knows within the EU, Germany is really the economic powerhouse that drives the entire European Union. So basically what this entire quote unquote war has done, or military operation, has essentially destroyed Germany in a sense. And Germany was a powerhouse of the European Council. So anyway, let's go over to Timur. Timur is in Finland. Boban will come back to you. Timur, can you tell us a little bit about how the Finnish people, the history, wanted to be part of NATO? Go ahead, Boban, Timur.
Actually, should I tell about the petition?
Yeah.
Citizen
Just give
okay.
me a background, because the history, as I understand it, Finland never really wanted to be part of NATO, and all of that has changed. And what's really going on right now?
Okay,
or at least the media is saying it's changed. Go ahead.
Because I think it comes from the neutrality from after the Second World War, when Finland made an agreement with Soviet Union. It was called like Friendship, Aid, and Collaboration Agreement. And so Finland was neutral all the way to 1992, and after the Soviet Union collapsed, the agreement got ratified with Russia, and actually it's still in effect until 2027. So Finland is trying to interpret, actually the government, not so much the people, the agreement for its own benefit to be able to join NATO. So there was a petition early in 2022 in February, where there was 76,000 people signed the petition to have an advisory referendum on joining NATO before actually even thinking about applying to NATO. And it was kind of funny, when the last elections in 2019, there was 148 MPs out of 200 that said absolutely no to NATO. And only in 3 years, 180 out of 200 MPs said yes to NATO. I'm not sure what happened during that time. And this citizen initiative, when it reaches like to 50,000 signatures, they should be like go through it, but they usually don't. So it's like, let people do something funny and we do something else. So they actually don't want to have a referendum on NATO. I'm not sure how that would end, but there's lots of people who don't want to join NATO in Finland.
So let me unpack what you just said. You're giving a lot of very valuable information we haven't heard from mainstream media here. Timur, what you're saying is that 3 years ago, 140, let's say 150 of the members of parliament of the 200 voted not to be part of NATO.
Actually, it was before the elections. They said that they were absolutely against NATO. Yeah.
Right. So 140, 150 of the MPs were opposed to being part of NATO. Now in 3 years, 180 of those 200 people want to be part of NATO. That's one data point, right? That's one fact.
Yeah.
Okay. The other fact is, what you're saying is that nearly 76,000 citizens of Finland put together a petition to have a referendum on the question of joining NATO, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And after 50,000, it's supposed to become a referendum, but the government didn't listen to them. Is that right?
Yeah. Actually, when it reaches 50,000 signatures, the parliament has to handle the initiative, but they usually don't.
Do that? So they violated the law?
I'm not sure. I think so. They're actually violating the law because they should handle it. Yeah.
So the people of Finland wanted to have a referendum. They got the signatures, and they don't even put it as a referendum.
Yeah.
And then
they don't even handle it.
They don't even handle it properly. And the last thing that you said, which is quite interesting, is that there was an agreement signed between Finland and Russia that is still active until 2027.
Yeah, actually, it's called like.
What is that agreement?
It's actually it was USSR forced to Finland to sign the agreement because actually it's like friendship, collaboration, and aid agreement. And actually, the Article 4 says, in case of Finland or Russia getting under military attack, other party of the agreement refrains giving military aid to the attacker. So if the agreement is still in effect until 2027, so how can we join NATO? Because NATO considers Russia. Yeah.
So what you're saying is there's an agreement between former USSR, which is still live, that they have a friendship agreement. So how can Finland join NATO when that other agreement exists? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, actually, the agreement has been ratified in 1992 with Russia after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And
I see. Got it. Got it. So even though the Soviet Union fell in 1991, the agreement was still kept alive after. Yep. Okay, got it. So basically, in summary, the government elite of Finland are not following any laws when it comes to joining NATO or not, right? They're just making up stuff as they go. Yeah. All right, so that's really important to know. I didn't know. So there was an agreement with Russia that was after the Soviet Union was re-ratified with Russia. They're supposed to have. In fact, as I remember, Timur, during Lenin's time in 1917, a lot of people don't understand this. That when Finland wanted to break away, even the Soviet Union of the time, Lenin's view was on this concept of called national self-determination, that any country wanted to break away. And so Lenin did not oppose Finland from becoming its own country, something people forget.
Yeah. And actually, what's funny, they're taking down statues of Lenin now in Finland.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. When Lenin was a reason that Finland was even created, right? Yeah. All right, let's go over to Vilma. Vilma, why not? And we'll come back to Anna. Anne, it's not Anne, it's Anna, right? Sorry. Vilma, why don't you share with us? You shared with us something when we were talking earlier on how close that the Russians and the Russian people and the Ukrainian people were, that you find it very difficult to even see these people fighting. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. When Lithuania was part of Soviet Union, I used to travel. I've been 3 times in Moscow, 2 times in Pittsburgh. I've been in Kiev, 2 times in Odessa. We used to travel in Soviet Union countries, so I can see and I know that it was very friendly. All Soviet Union countries kind of try to be friendly to each other, but Ukrainian and Russia, it's no problem. When I came to Ukraine, I was speaking fluently Russia, and everyone is speaking Russia back. There is a majority, 50-50, or maybe 1 out of 3 Ukrainians is Russian, and so it's a very similar culture. And very friendly people. It's like extension of Russia, Ukraine was, and religion-wise and everything. So it's hard to comprehend that all of a sudden they have such a hatred and anger and such a propaganda taking place, and the country is in a bits. I mean. Yes, it's hard to understand how this could be happening.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting, Vilma, someone just put the difference between Russians and Ukrainians is similar to the difference between Americans and Canadians, right? So this would be like basically America and Canadians having an all-out war. I mean, they're border countries, very similar backgrounds, very similar cultures, right, etc. Boban, can you just say hello? I just want to do a sound test.
Hello.
Yeah. So Boban, can you maybe tell us what is the life of an average German right now with all the energy cuts? I've heard reports of restaurants having to shut down, rents are skyrocketing. Just tell us sort of the devastation this war is causing to the German people, just what you've seen.
Not only restaurants, also factories.
Can you speak a little louder, Boban? Yep.
Also factories are closing down because the energy prices are so high, climbed up so high. Bakeries have to be closed because the energy prices raised up from $700, for example, to $4,000-$5,000 per month.
Yeah, let me repeat that again. No, this is really important. A friend of mine told me this. A bakery, a small bakery that's running, the rent went from $700 to $4,000 a month, right?
Yes, and sometimes more. So for people, we have private people are calling they are telling that they can pay the prices anymore, and people are thinking about suicide. Normal people, because they are afraid of the future, and they can't pay prices, and they are afraid for the future. So it's very difficult, and the winter is now.
Yeah, someone just said, Selena just said, why are the press not showing the crisis in Germany? And Boban, isn't it true that you can't buy wood stoves anymore? People have bought all the wood stoves up.
Yes, in some parts of Germany, yes, because and many regions where wood are bought, Chinese companies, so the Chinese are buying whole Germany, they are buying whole wood production.
Yeah. So what Boban again is sharing again, we got to fix the sound. It's unfortunate we can't hear your sound, but someone said can't hear. What is the cause of the rent increase? The rent, what Boban, not the rent increase, the utility price increase, right, Boban?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you're running a bakery, so someone said if you're running a bakery and you have to spend $700 a month, where Boban sharing the price, I've heard prices going up to $12,000 a month, but $700 to $5,000, $4,000 a month. That's ridiculous. So basically, yeah, this entire war created by US and NATO, in my view, right, forcing Russia to become the quote unquote aggressor, is essentially destroying Germany, and Germany is a powerhouse of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but
Yeah. Yeah. So what Boban is saying, it's from Germany, is that this entire thing was planned by the UK and the United States. Let's go over to Annie. Anne, can you tell us? Anne is also in Finland, and Anne, can you tell us what you've witnessed there? Go ahead, Anne.
Well, it came to my mind about after the World War II, we made an agreement with the Allies. Finland was to restrict its weaponry or something like that. You can find it. It's made in 1947. So I'm worried about that. That has to be checked. So we had some business, very good business with Russia and Soviet Union, like Timur said, and everything was fine. Now it's like the media is making up, like trying to make everybody hate Russia and hate Putin, and they write like Putin is sick, Putin is dying, we should build a wall around Finland. on the Russian border, which is 300 kilometers long, and that is sick. It's only forest, and there should be there could be a nuclear blast on the northern border. Was today in the media. So I was walking today and I heard some old people like in their 80s talk about Russia and Putin, and they had the war. They've been children when the war was here. Like we were fighting Russia 1940 to 1945. So they have to go through this again, and there's lots of trauma about Russia, but usually it's been like okay, and we have some Russians, young people, old people here. Also, I don't know how many or how many percents. So it's been under the cover kind of, but now the media is adding up to the trauma all the time, and all the news come from CNN, BBC, so we don't have any reporters in Finland. They're not going anywhere. They're just copy-pasting the news, you know?
Mm.
And about the Crimean Brits, I just checked the Yle News. They said the Ukrainians blew it up. And
Yep.
the energy is quite, you know, people are not discussing about the energy because we don't see anything yet. So everybody's okay with that now. But I don't know about the EU. We've been paying.
And can you hold on? Can you tell us about Finland? What's going on in Finland? What is the sentiment in Finland about all this? I know Timur shared that there was this petition. If you can,
Oh yes,
yeah. So let's talk about Finland, because that's why. Tell us on the ground what do the average Finn view about what's going on right now between Ukraine and Russia?
Well, the average Finn kind of thinks it's Russia. It's Russia's fault that Russia's attacking, and they launched these kind of words like a Russian attack war. They use the Russian attack war on
Who's
everything.
they? Who's they?
Media.
Uh-huh.
So people think Russia is attacking, and it soon will attack us, and it's just awful. I think half of people are in the desperate block. They don't read the newspapers or watch the news or anything, and the other half is just raving about Russia. So it's really mixed, because we've had nothing but lies. Nothing but lies.
And how is it that you're able to discern all this?
I don't know. I kind of woke up to the vax thingy and COVID.
Yep.
And started to look for things and find out what's happening and what is this, and kind of it's expanding. And then I found your movement and met Timur on the other way around. I first met Timur and he told me about this, and I started looking for more and more information, and then I joined the warrior tribe, and I'm on that path now.
Yeah. So what I think, Anne, what you're saying is interesting, because we now have about three. So what Anne's referring to is we've created a system so people can actually start getting street smart and think beyond left and right. We have about over 360,000 people in 95 countries. But those people want to go to truthfreedomhealth.com. You can hear some incredible stories where people are at and how they transform themselves. And you can also read about our winning many, many things by the approach that we take. But to Anne, your point is if you look at Finland, there's lots of information out there, but people are easily being manipulated into complacency, division, or desperation. And I think that's what Boban was sharing. You were sharing in the Baltic states. And right now, in spite of all this information that's out on the planet, it's not like people are getting more truth or more freedom and more health. In fact, more and more people are getting anxious and depressed. 51% of our children feel hopeless. 2.5 billion kids and people in the world are obese. 52% are completely confused on even what to eat or avoid. So the information is not the issue. There's lots of information, but it doesn't mean with all this information we're getting better. In fact, what's happening, and I think, Anne, what you're saying is you're witnessing right there in Finland, right? You have a lot of information, but the forces of power, profit, and control are breeding ignorance. They're basically saying good, bad, right? Pro, anti, Russia good, Russia bad, Ukraine good. And people are then into these left-right divisions. They either go left or right. They either get desperate or they get complacent. But this is what this system of power, profit, and control is doing. And as we've shared, if people are on the left or right, they're into this divided mode, right? Pro-Russian, anti-Russian, or complacent, or desperate. And many of these people, the gurus, the Donald Trumps, and all the talk show hosts, they're not giving any solutions. If anything, they're hyping this stuff up. And our view is that the only way out of this is what we're doing right here, is that we have to take a systems approach. And that leads to wisdom and clarity. You start listening to what Boban's sharing in Germany, what you're sharing, what actually is true in Finland, and what Vilma said is actually the realities. The Russian people and the Ukrainian people, 1/3 of Ukrainians are Russians. These people are friendly people. And the reality is that this Michelle, you want to just let them know that we're in the movie now? Thanks. That the science of systems leads people to wisdom and clarity and gets people to really start thinking about solutions, becoming an activist and organized. And that's what we're talking about. The movement is really about you becoming knowledgeable with the science of systems. So I want to encourage everyone, in the interest of time, I have to leave where I'm at right now. We have a little bit of a deadline, but we'll do this again. I think, Boban, when you get a little bit better connection, we should do this again. But to everyone listening, Anne has shared that basically what the media is doing in Finland, which is a bordering country of Russia, right? Timur has shared that the overwhelming majority of Finnish people did not want Finland to be part of NATO. Wilma has essentially shared people of Russian origins, or the Russian and Ukrainian people are friendly people. They're in camaraderie. And this is all very, very unfortunate. So in closing, Timur, what would you like to say? We're going to do this again. I just have a time limit that I have to leave where I am. Timur, why don't you just share some final words? Everyone just give some closing comments. Go ahead, Timur.
Okay, so something I'd like to share is like the 3 most important trade partners of Finland are Russia, Germany, and Sweden. Now we don't do business anymore with Russians, and we think we can manage by ourselves, but Germany is so energy dependent on Russia. If they cut the energy, Germany goes down, and the implication is that the economy of Finland is going to collapse.
Wow, I didn't know that. So Finland's 3 big partners are Germany, Russia,
and Sweden. Yeah.
So 2 out of 3 are essentially going to be gone.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We got to do this again. Anne, closing comments from you on Finland?
Yeah, I don't know. If I knew this a year ago, I wouldn't have believed this. This is like everything is collapsing. You know, the hospitals, the economy, everything's collapsing.
Yep. Thank you, Anne. Vilma, why don't you give some final closing comments? What you would like to tell people?
Yeah, I know that Lithuanian grassroots people are not happy with government decisions, and understand that government is not working for people in Lithuania. It's someone else ruling the government, and it's disattachment for people and the government, and the price cost rising gas, electricity 3 times rose up, and very, very disturbing times. And yes, and of course everyone don't know, because we very close. Lithuania used to be transit country, and now they cut off transit. They made angry with China, Belarus, Russia. All neighbors nearly made angry that Lithuania not anymore friendly. Basically self-sabotaging. The government, people very unhappy with government. I definitely know that. And we are in crisis, and companies closing, economic is crashing down, agriculture is crashing down. It's very sad, very, very sad.
Thanks,
So
Vilma.
that's
Someone
my,
just said Arthur Clements, obviously a war on humanity. Boban, can you just share? I think we have a little bit. Boban, can you just give us some final comments on Germany? We will do this again. Go ahead, Boban.
Yes. Okay. Look, what I can say from Germany, all the people here in Germany want to live in peace. So nobody wants to have war with Russia, and Germany is in a special situation because Germany is not a free country. So Germany is occupied. So Germany is still today without a freedom contract, and German people want to live in peace, and they don't want to live and to have war with Russia. But people are not asked. So the government is doing it on their own case, and they are not asking the German people. So if the government would ask the German people, all of the German people would say, stop it now, and go and talk with Russia. So that's my conclusion.
Yeah, so I think, thanks, Boban. I think the net conclusion, if you listen to Vilma, Timur, and Boban, is that the leaders, these imbecile politicians, do not serve the interests of people. The people want to go in this direction, and the government leaders are going in this direction. The only way forward is for us to build a movement for truth, freedom, and health that goes beyond left and right. The good news I just want to share with everyone is, Vilma and Timur and Boban, who've taken time out of their Sundays, I know it's evening there, is that one common thing they all have is we are all, including myself, we're all members of this movement. And it's not members, just to be clear, it's really, we're warrior scholars, we're students, we're constantly educating ourselves. But our movement is really about education. It's going beyond left and right. And it is the only way forward. It is time for people to organize independent of all of these imbeciles and entertainers. They're not going to do anything for us. And it's time that people have self-respect, and they recognize that they are the agents of change. And so I invite everyone, we'll do this again. This was great. Boban, let's try to get some better sound for you next time. But Germany is really important. But let's do this again. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Timur. Thank you, Vilma. It was very, very nice that you guys took time to do this. Yes, namaste to you too. Yeah, but let's do this again. But I think people deserve to know what's actually going on. Finland is there. You're from the Baltic state. And then, Boban, Germany is as the brunt of this. By the way, the German and Russian and all these people in Europe, including Ukrainian people, Americans don't know, these people have actually had suffering in their lives 1 generation ago. Americans always seem to get away from it. They've actually had war on their own ground. So I think it's important that we start really having massive demonstrations in the United States against what US and NATO are doing in Ukraine and Russia. Anyway, thank you, everyone. But to all of you out there, I hope you're inspired by Anne, Timur, Vilma, and Boban, and know that we have a global community, so you don't need to feel desperate and alone or divided. I forgot to tell everyone, every Thursdays, let me just share this. Every Thursdays, we have our Warrior Scholar meetings here. It's a orientation. Everyone is invited to come to it. So I invite everyone to come. Write this down, vashiva.com/orientation. Anyone can come to this, and please join us. You will find an amazing community of people, so you don't have to feel like you're alone. and we can build a movement for truth, freedom, and health. So every Thursday, 11 a.m. and 8 p.m., RSVP at vashiva.com/orientation. Thank you again, Vilma, and to more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, be well, be the light. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.